Welcome, everyone. What a beautiful way to start the day in silence, just to take a moment. And welcome to our 7 days of rest, day 6, our Good of the Whole Global Resonance call. And it's a double heart day, as you can see. Having a little bit of extra fun here and glory, and glorious day. So, let's just take a couple of deep, connected breaths, really feeling that sense of wholeness today, to be in the knowing of whole, to be a whole being, feeling each individual cell and coming back into this field of one, this field of love that's been really seeding itself within us over this past week. And we honor the 7 days of rest and Shelley Ostroff for really bringing this forward, and Jan Golding, who's been really behind the scenes working this and making it available to us. And we come to the circle this morning really standing at this oasis of love, opening to receiving, being nurtured. And this morning, our focus being resting in loving wisdom. Resting in loving wisdom. And just a little bit about good of the whole, that we are planetary stewards coming together, listening deeply, speaking from our hearts, and intentionally expanding this resonant field of love. And we're here to create this collective sacred space and feel this harmonic connection as it ripples out between us as individuals and us as a global community. And this resonance call is a powerful transformational tool. It's really a tool of restoration, and it brings us into this awareness. We're raising awareness. We're opening that sense of wonder, and we're allowing this shift of group consciousness, really birthing a new culture focused on the ethos of wholeness. So taking a breath, and we're very blessed this morning. Flowing with it. Grace is here, who I got to meet in Taos, New Mexico, and she really also holds the global heart. And we've invited her to open the resonance this morning. So with that, Grace, just moving us into that deeper sense of communion, and we pass this beautiful heart resonance virtual talking stick to you.
Thank you, Shelley. So let's begin by closing your eyes and just getting in a comfortable posture position. And as you take that nice deep belly breath in, just opening that chest, opening that heart. And as you exhale, just begin to release any tension or tightness or stories in your head, so you're fully present here in the moment. And taking that nice deep belly breath in, breathing in that loving energy into your heart to open it up. Feeling unconditional love for yourself. And as you exhale, connecting with others here on the call with your unconditional love. Breathing in that unconditional love of others into your heart. And allowing this unconditional love to open up that loving wisdom that we share collectively in this we space, in this time, in our time together. One more breath, breathing in that unconditional love, connecting, feeling that love from everyone here. Then exhaling and sharing that love to fuel this collective consciousness that we're in, the we space. And just allow this love to infuse every cell of your body as we begin to share from our heart the wisdom. I turn it over to you, Shelley.
Might be good if I unmute myself. So just yes to that beautiful opening. And I love that, the we space. What a gorgeous way to hold it. And for those that are just joining us and those that are will be watching the recording, we welcome you as well and invite you to just, if you're new to this call, up at the top corner, there is a speaker gallery view. Gallery view allows you to see everybody. And we like that because do you know that this is a participatory call? Part of this, creating this we space, is that everyone has a voice and everyone has space to share. So we welcome you. And those that are on the phone, you can scroll left. If you download Zoom, you'll be able to see everyone as well. So, you know, some of us are new at learning Zoom, so we'll just honor that here this morning. And we begin our day of rest in loving wisdom with a beautiful share. Each day on the 7 days of rest, there's a beautiful poem, and we're just tracking that. We're following that emergent thread here on this resonance call. So I'm just going to read into the field, and then I'll share a few guidelines, and then we'll open the call so everybody can share. So taking another breath. And visions from the future bless as gentle guides who show the way. They answer calls that ask to serve creation in its path of love. As insight flows, new paths of promise waken. Instinct and imagination play and wisdom grows, with past and future mixing fertile longings. A time of peace and health and joy is seen upon our inner screen, and swept up by the clarion call with inner compass clarity. We let go and we let come to take our place along the way into the mysteries of this day. Just breathing that in. So this morning, as we deepen into this wisdom and this sense of future present, we open into this deeper healing, this sense of community and planetary wisdom. This moment of past and present and future come forward into our full being as we receive ourselves, as we unconditionally love ourselves. So on this call, for those who may be watching and who are new, we simply speak to the moment. We follow that thread, that emergent thread of love as it's coming through us and as us. We're speaking 1 to 2 minutes and sharing more than once as the evolutionary impulse moves us is fine. We honor the pause, especially, or I should say even more so, when we have people that are on the phone. It takes them a little bit longer to unmute themselves, and they can't see us, our movements. We can catch each other as we're looking at this fabulous tapestry. Oh, what was that? Oh, look at that. Love more. So just bringing in the love. So we just honor it, and this is a joyful call. This is, you know, we might track a thread of upset or or a sense of hopelessness. But what we know is, as we tracking that thread, the field herself brings us the solutions and information we need. So within the word hopeless is the word hope. I've been loving that. And the other thing is, I'm just finishing up here and looking at Grace, there was something that I really took from the event in Taos, which was the acronym of love. Let others voluntarily evolve. So we give space to each other. And that's a major journey of mine personally. So with that, collectively, we just take another breath and really trusting our wisdom, our inner wisdom this morning. For those of you that have been a little more quiet, take a breath and step in, even just to say hello, share a word or a phrase. For those of you that are always sharing, take a step back a little. Allow those seeds to be planted. Allow them to grow. Notice the resonance and the frequency. So with great gratitude, we open the call here this morning with this beautiful virtual talking stick and a sense of joy. So with that, I'm home, whole, and fulfilled. Mwah. We'll talk about love more later.
Hello, this is Flo, and I just want to talk about my recent communities that have been building all around me, different from what was before, what is building in the future. And last night, Shanti Hart and I were at a drum circle, and with people that I'm just getting to know now, and I feel like it's one of my new communities. And somebody said, well, does anybody ever send out intentions anymore into the drum circle? You know, the world could really use a lot more love and hope. And so our last song, or whatever you want to call it, was a cosmic tsunami of love to the world. And I just was wondering if any of you felt it, because I know I felt it. This was about 10 o'clock Central Time last night. And it's just really good to see there's many different communities that are really part of one big community, and it's really just such a treat to see it all come together. And with that, I'm complete.
This is Shanti Hart. So I got this book that I guess is really old called The Intender's Handbook. But I've been studying it and trying to change my vocabulary. And one of the words that they said, well, Tony Burrows wrote this. And this was like from the 90s. I know some of you that's like, yeah, I did that. But anyway, it's new to me. So one of the words that he says to drop is hoping. Because if you're hoping that something will happen, you're also holding on to a little bit of doubt about whether it will come true. So it's a word I used a lot because I always thought of it as a positive word. Well, I'm hoping that happens. I hope so. So I'm trying to change my way of thinking. Instead of saying, I hope that I'm on this resonance call today, I'm saying, I intend to be here. I intend to love more. And it's tricky, but hope kind of keeps kicking the can down the road, and intention is more determined, I guess. For me, it seems to be helping. That's what I wanted to share. I'm complete.
So following that thread, it seems that the energy of hope, this consciousness of hope is coming through. And that little meandering voice of doubt that shows up in relationship to that questioning of hope, or what comes also up is longing. Because I remember 35 years I was this devotee of a guru, and there was always this absolute sense of beauty in the longing. And many years ago I sort of let that one go, as coming into presence seemed to be more of a laser beam of focus. And the interesting thing about doubt, which has been coming in really recently this morning, is very interesting, is that we think that doubt is negative. Uh-oh, got to get rid of that doubt, got to fill it up, got to change it, got to get rid of it. And I feel like the thing that's coming in my world and sharing it is that doubt is a predecessor for courage and strength. When we notice that there's doubt, there's that next breath that comes in to move beyond that questioning, move beyond that fear, to fully embrace the doubt. And I think that's a really a changing theme in consciousness right now, is really to embrace that which we don't like, those aspects of self that we don't want. And so I'm also following this thread of like holding things a little bit differently, embracing that piece as something that if I can track it in my own body and embrace it and love it, it naturally evolves into courage and strength. And all of a sudden we've made that leap or into something brand new. And and there's no time space with that. It just happens, and we just happen in with it. So I'm looking forward to this. I feel like there's something really moving here, and I'm complete past that virtual talking stick.
It feels to me the practice of loving what shows up, how it shows up, and receiving it as an experience. That seems to be the message, and the flow is the motion of love. And that's what I feel we're intentioning. We're intentioning to experience it. We're intentioning to be it. And with that comes the playfulness and the release of has to be a certain way, and the receiving of how it is. And I watched The Secret of Water last night, just because there it is, showing how water is the continual flow of energy informing itself, and that water remembers what all that it connects with, all of it, water. So that was also another amazing piece to bring into this thread, is that flow and the information we're receiving through water. I'm complete.
I appreciate this wisdom that you were sharing, and I think that's why I wanted to mention about the hope and the intention, because I wanted to hear your feedback. And another thing I've been not working with, but aware of, is being the witness of what's coming in for me and taking it all as a learning experience and creating perspective around that. So everything that you have shared, I try not being rigid and saying, no, I can't ever say that word. But I like the idea that if I do catch myself saying hope instead of intent, I'm like, oh, what is it I need? Which superpower do I need to bring forward now to make this happen? Clearly, I'm calling in my reserves of intention and commitment and passion, and what can I learn from that? And maybe I need to step back and have some perspective as I look at this. So it all ties together, and as we all know, it all comes from the heart. And when it comes from the heart, it all flows. I'm complete again. Pausing, I guess.
This is Shelley, and as I take a breath, I deepen into this very wet field. And this is like the field, it's so creative. I feel like that relationship between thriving and our own creativity, our own playfulness, as was being shared earlier. I know that I used to be really serious, and I still can be. And when and always used to pressure myself to be more. And actually having that rub up against that part of me that feels like either I'm not good enough, or I don't do as well as someone else, and then it flips, because there's that flip side of our limbic imprinting, which is I'm too much. And I'm just seeing this vision of a jellyfish right now. You know, the jellyfish with all the tentacles, and those are kind of our patterns and our um, limiting beliefs. But the jellyfish, as it kind of moves in water, it's fluid, it's flowing. And those tentacles, they kind of become, I don't know exactly what they're called, but they actually are become they're attractors. And what I've been learning more and more and feeling into more and more is how, when I, you know, this deepening into this field of rest, because it's saying to us, let go, allow me to move you, allow me to take you, allow me to inform you, that the resistance of those old limiting beliefs, you know, like what the belief, I'm just having that vision, the old, you know, limiting beliefs. What the belief? Oh my God. They start, the new receptors start opening. And I feel like that's what's happening here. We're having that experience with each other. We're just being informed. And I love that. I love this intentioning to just simply be open, to say yes. You know, I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to grow. I'm willing to feel more. And that's a really, and I'll end with that piece, that feel more. I'm willing to open to another person. And the beauty of what I really started getting this morning was, and because I've been thinking about how do I share the magic of not getting caught up in, oh, what this person said or that person said, or, you know, and how do I speak to the whole, is when I realize that I'm looking at and speaking to not a person, but a presence, a presencing. And that's really shifting everything. And that's what I want to express. That's what wants to come through, you know, is when we experience each other as a living organism, a presence of love, then there's no judging. We're just thriving in that field. So with that, I pass this glowing, illuminating, sparkling virtual talking stick.
Shelley, following you is it's feeling that trust, that trusting to relax into the flow and being open to whatever just pops up collectively with us, and just sharing that, not having a pre-program what I'm going to say, but just trusting the words that come out of my mouth in the moment, hoping that would be a loving wisdom for others, and sharing that. So thank you for that, bringing up that trust issue and letting it flow. And that's my intention this year, is to let the love flow, and wherever I connect with others and co-create together, trusting in that field. And thank you.
And I would add that in that field, in trusting that field, and in co-creating with one another in that field, we're creating it. We're creating what is in alignment with our frequency as our true nature, that home frequency. And that's what we're doing. And I feel, and giving and bringing one another the messages we need. We're learning and teaching one another, remembering to remember. Oh, yeah, yeah. And you see it reflected in however each one of us. So anyway, I feel so excited about that is what we are engaged in now. It's not a future present, it's a present. It's a now. So I'm complete.
Julie, I just had can you hear me okay? Yeah. I just had a image listening to the conversation about intentions. And I love the idea of moving in levels. And I had this vision of like these video games that the kids play, and men play them now too. I don't know if any of you women play them, but men and kids are playing all these video games. And the vision was in teaching consciousness and co-creation in these levels, because we're already beyond the level of intention when we go into flow and co-creation of really trusting, really totally letting go, not even having intention, and being fully present in that flow of co-creation, because we are that. We are that. We are the creator. We are connected. And an intention comes from separation consciousness that says, I'm separate from the universe, and so I have to have an intention to create something out here to make it happen, instead of knowing we are it and we are making it happen in every moment. So anyway, I had this beautiful vision. And so I just want to put gratitude in that. I had a friend who said, you need to come teach the direct source piece now with languaging that people get. And I think this understanding that intention is like how it works on level 5. And then when you master it, you get to level 6. And then when you master it, you get to level 7. And looking at the levels of consciousness like that. So anyway, it'll be fun to play with that imagery. And I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm complete.
Just for
Julie,
go ahead.
Julie, you just made me think of something else that when I came to my first co-creators convergence, someone was like, well, what's been going on? I'm like, well, I've been working on this and I've been working on that. And he said, well, maybe you should just stop working on it and just play with it, or just let it. I'm like, oh yeah, it would be so much easier. And so now you just, like you said, you just took me to another level. So stop intending it, just be it, yeah. See, that's why I wanted to bring this up. You guys you took me to a new level today. Thank you.
We all get bonus points for that.
Hi, all. This is Kathy. Interestingly enough, you probably see red clover on the screen. I've tried to remedy that and go in and write my official name and put my picture on, but somehow I guess Doom.us does not make it here. Anyway, what I'm hearing basically the entire week is how the drudgery of these things we feel like we have to do is transforming into this joyous stewardship that we love to do. And back to the red clover, as Shelley was speaking about the jellyfish, and why red clover is there is the me-go, the ego of me, I feel is dissolving into this we-go for quite some time now. You know, I've kind of felt like when I want your dreams to come true as much as my own, we're getting somewhere. And so I've kind of tried to live in that. And the intenders, you know, they have this, there's 10 principles to, and I just love, you know, seek simplicity and set your course and align with others who are feeling this impulse, if you will, who are creating these new video games that are taking us to new levels. And when we learn and get those bonus points, well, bonus, huh? I want to share with you I've been with the World Community of St. Francis since 2006, and it's just kind of, I mean, it's a bunch of out-of-the-box light workers that have been joining on different levels for a long time, and I think we've kind of spoke about how many beautiful circles there are out there. And anyway, we came up with a prayer. We get together and we say the peace prayers that were brought to Assisi every Saturday morning, and it's only like a 15-minute deal, but it really feels cohesive. You know, we have Jean in South Africa, and after years, you know, I've come to really know and feel these people deeply, so we all gather and we say the peace prayers. But we kind of came up with our own prayer many years ago, and I just want to share that with you. It says, I am the light. My light shines brightly as a beacon of hope for all. I join my light with the light of the whole community and bring peace and joy to this planet. The light of our entire community joins in service to the divine will of the world. Turn the feather.
Thank you, Kathy. Hope. I think you've just elevated. I think we've just gone full circle right now. From Shanti's hope and fear of using the word hope and trying to change it to a better hope. And now you've taken it, you've given us a prayer that incorporates what being beacons of hope. It's elevated the word to its truth, to its true intention. And it's so true that this thread that we're weaving about always having tried so hard to be on different levels and achieving higher level and a deeper truth. And right now in January, everybody's setting goals. And I've always been like, I don't want to set goals. And I never really knew why I didn't want to set goals. And there was part of me that was like, well, you should set goals. But no, there's something beyond that. It was always like, show me the truth of what this is, this resistance to setting goals. And it's what Julie was saying. It's like, we are the goal. We are right here, the way we are, just now. Perfect. We just need to share that and realize it and be it and presence it. Yeah, I'm so in love right now, and not like emotional love. I'm like just like pure heart space right now, shimmering. So I am complete. Thank you.
in the summer of 2016. Could that be right? Yeah, before the election last year. Wow, yeah, 17, where'd it go? I was sitting out here at the lake with my sister and brother-in-law, and we got up one early morning to have coffee outside like we always do, and just kind of chilling and having coffee, and someone opened their phone to, we were all kind of like talking about the political stuff of what was happening, just in just little snippets, just little snippets. And there was a comedian that did a skit about Trump, and it was hilarious. And it was pathetic. It was pathetically hilarious. And I'll try to make this concise. Having this video had us have some really barbing conversation about where people were at pre-election. And my brother-in-law said, "This is why we don't talk about politics and religion. This is why we don't. We just don't." And I just was like in tears that morning, just like the realization of, oh my gosh, if we can't talk about the very structures of what we're creating as a culture together, who are we as a species? Because literally our politics and our religion should be a reflection of our values, our deepest core values of who we are. And of course, popular politics and popular religion doesn't see it like that, but it really is about that deepest wisdom and the core values. So anyway, I went to bed asking for guidance, and I had all day, I posted that day about levels of consciousness, and I was showing different people's understanding of really how we move as humanity and consciousness, and was sharing my favorite from Richard Barrett's, and which takes into culture and groups, organizations, and what have you, and it was beautiful. But I asked for guidance, like, what is this for me? And I got this incredible vision. And the vision, it went all night long in my sleep. It was so fascinating. But it was like this tangled ball of thread. Just to simplify what was happening, it was like this tangled ball of thread. But what was happening within this tangled ball of thread was that people, individuals, everything was moving along continuums from one side of duality to the other, but they were linked back in, and they were just a circle. And all of them were intertwined. So like to just simplify, from right to left, from high to low, from good to bad, from hot to cold. If you think about everything that's duality in our world, politics and religion. So here's consciousness just moving along this continuum from one to the other and then flipping. And that in itself was so helpful to me to see that as humanity, here we are. We're all just, it was kind of like this, an ant farm underground where they're all marching along that, and there was just this movement that was happening. But what was happening was the more that we came across, the more of the ascension that was happening. Kind of like the bonus points in the game again. We're playing games here, but like literally the more that we came full circle in each of those continuums, the more we got it, and the more they started melding together and kind of disappearing. So anyway, I don't know why that popped in that moment when Elizabeth was talking. It was like, yeah, I just shared that vision and that image of who we are in constant motion as a collective whole, and our collective consciousness, and we're working it out. One person marching along a continuum at a time. We're working it out. And anyway, I have hope because of that, and I'm complete.
Okay, I'm taking my heart-shaped glasses off for this one. Woo! Everything turns blue. So following that thread, what was emerging and what was submerging was this experience that I've been having with whales. And particularly over the past couple of days, I've been watching this phenomenal movie about this one humpback whale and the journey, Sacred Voyager or the Great Voyager, and its baby. And at one point, and they finally make it to Antarctica, the feeding grounds. And we're in the feeding grounds here. What was really amazing, they said, well, number one, the whales, the keepers of wisdom, the whales are the keeper of the wisdom, are like 7 million years old. That's the first thing. The second thing is they've been doing the same feeding habit when they get to Antarctica by doing these bubbles for years. Hundreds, maybe thousands of years. But I think it was 1989, the people that were watching them and had been researching them noticed that one whale started a different pattern of feeding. And there was only one, and they had never seen it before. And they began to notice after that the following year, there were a few more whales now doing the same patterning of the slapping and then the bubbles. But what was interesting to me was that, I'm not sure how this is following the thread, but I think, so what was interesting to me was that they shifted the pattern, because what happened was humans came in and started selling herring and taking these huge nets and taking their food source. And the next level of food source was something that they didn't know how to actually encircle and feed upon. So this one whale somehow comes up with the relatively new level, if you want to call it that. I don't call it that. But its consciousness shifts and others start to follow. And maybe this is the 100th monkey thing. But I love this piece about whales because we are in this etheric waters. When we're speaking about the field here, what we're feeling into is the etheric waters, connecting with our own inner waters. And now all the humpback whales do this particular movement to feed, to be nurtured. And they all, adding to that, now they all join together. If there's enough food, they all join together and they're working together in that co-creativity. What magic is this, right? This is the magic. And never mind the sound piece, because that's a whole other conversation, because it's a lot of it's about sound, vibrational frequency, which we love here. So just breathing with that depths of what is at work. We're not separate. We are in that same connected field that's informing. And in the moment, this is the beauty of how we all came together, many years ago with Barbara Marx Hubbard, and understanding the evolution of consciousness. Because when we understand the evolution of consciousness, because that's all that I'm speaking about, that's all any of us are speaking about. We're in that field within that evolution of consciousness that's evolving itself as us and through us. And I guess that's it. It's like it's a spiraling consciousness. It's a spiraling consciousness. We do talk about stepping, levels, or we talk about all different ways of measuring consciousness. But essentially, it's one consciousness moving and evolving into its highest potential. And the chaos that brings all those feelings of separation is simply that point of evolution within ourselves that we have to move to open to. I guess the best way would be to say open to that revelation of information that's coming through. That's why we come together here. That's why we love it, because it's always new, this opening. So with that, we still have a few more minutes to let this unfold. So blessings, everyone.
when Julie was speaking, I remembered a visual her daughter had brought to one of our Good of the Whole exchanges. And it was something like this: seeing the mitochondria of the one cell dividing itself into two. And somehow there was, along with the joyful, playful creating, there was the slapping and pushing and whacking each other back and forth. And it just brought to me the experience of evolve or co-creating what is into what morphs from that. And the activity is somewhat of, in other words, the message is love. The bumps and the slaps and the process is so conducive to thriving and ongoing joy. So anyway, I just had to share that in terms of the energetics, which I do feel we're listening to more. We're sourcing our information from the frequency vibration, at least as equally as, we call it intuition, but I feel it is actually the informative frequency, and just listening to that. And anyway, I'm complete.
So inviting a continuing pause with deep acknowledgement and gratitude of this consciousness that's educating us on how to lead with love, leading from the field of love, and trusting ourselves, and just being it. I've loved this conversation here, this beautiful, conscious conversation this morning. And with that, I'm going to put my heart-shaped glasses back on, because for those of you that are new here who are watching, I just want to introduce you to love more, and that we're here. This Global Heart Resonance call is simply about loving more, loving ourselves more, loving each other, loving the planet, becoming more available to that rippling presencing of future, past, and present here now. So with that, we have one more day with this beautiful Good of the Whole, Love More Consciousness Global Heart Resonance call. So please come and join us. And the invitation to a couple of things. One is to really share. I'll try to get this out today, then for tomorrow, and share it out to your very different groups. Let them come and have this experience. Invite them in. To also know that we'll be continuing this, and you can go to goodofthewhole.com and just sign in and share and come to the Facebook page, which is a new page. Hey, we've moved. So we're on Good of the Whole community page now. So if you're still looking for posts in the old Good of the Whole, please, and let people know, share it out that we've moved. There's a little video there from myself and Julie. And yeah, invite people to have this experience. And I want to thank Grace for jumping in so quickly and easily for the heart resonance, because that's it. It's not, this is a participatory call. Jump in, feel that yes, trust your deeper sense of self to come forward and hold that place. And then I don't want to say eventually, but we are considering a resonance training, a simple, where people can learn how to hold this frequency, because it is a frequency. It's different than other wisdom circles and things like that. So to give you a way in, and it looks like Julie, are you jumping in, or are you just?
Yeah, I was going to say something with just adding on to that with when you were talking about the resonance training, is that part of our paid membership is a mentorship. I just want to throw this in, Shelley, when you're talking about this, because it's not Good of the Whole. Everyone owns it. No one owns it. This is really is a stewardship of the consciousness of wholeness on our planet, and that ethos of wholeness. And so we want it to be a co-mentoring. So the mentorship is that you are being mentored and you are mentoring. So we're all sharing our gifts. So we'll have a collective community call that we'll host every week, that will really integrate who we are and our gifts and how we can support one another out in the world by co-mentoring. So just wanted to throw that out since you talked about the resonance training, Shelley. Thank you. Because that's a part of it, right? We all teach each other our greatest gifts. Thanks, Shelley.
Thank you, Julie. Yeah. So let's just take a minute and just really take another breath. And the beauty of what we do on this call is everyone can unmute, and we send this resonant frequency out to the planet through a symphony of yum. So yum.
Yay, thank you all. Love you.
Thank you.